welcome everybody to this rendition of the Prop 2 override discussion. The voice you're hearing right now is Emmanuel Marsh. I am the president of UMA, Urban Media Arts, here in Malden. Today I'm joined by a friend of mine, David Ball. David, say hello.
How are you, E-Man?
I'm doing well. How about
Glad
yourself?
to be here.
Good to see you, and good to have you on here.
Thanks.
And so the purpose of this discussion today is just to try to talk to people through the community and just get a feeling for what's going to be happening. I know that there have been many forums. There's been many forums that have been conducted by various organizations around the community. I know that obviously there's stuff that's online, whether for or against it. So as part of UMA, I think we're trying to do our part and also trying to educate the voters as well. And so, we'll dive right into it. We're going to we'll talk about it. And then, hopefully when it comes to next Tuesday, whoever can hear the sounds of our voices will get out to go and vote regardless, right? So
thanks for the opportunity, man.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
So I introduced you, David, but I'll let you, I guess as any good, obviously I was kind of watching, the Kelsey Fitzsimmons trial today, or over the last couple of days at work. So I guess any good lawyer will start you off by saying, can you introduce yourself to us?
Happy to. Yes, my name is David Ball. I have lived in Malden for about 16 years. Okay. I've been a firefighter for the city of Malden, Massachusetts for 14 years. I'm a veteran of the military. I am a volunteer at the Friends of the Malden Public Library, and living in Malden, working in Malden, volunteering in Malden. It's a dream. I wake up every morning happy. I wake up every morning looking forward to going to work and volunteering and doing the best I can. And at 44 years old, living in Malden, our best days are ahead of us. So,
I would agree. And so first couple of things I want to say too is, thank you for your service. Right?
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you for your service, not only just for serving this country, but also serving the community as well.
My pleasure.
I think a lot of people, I've always said this, that if you can't serve your country, serve your community. Right? Or
yes.
do both.
Yes.
And so thank you for doing that. And I know that
of course.
It is rewarding, right? Obviously, talking to me, and if you talk to some people around the community, I'm like everywhere, like a bad penny, right?
Hey, the night's still young.
Yeah. You're not kidding.
Oh, yeah.
So
we'll have some fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being involved.
Of course.
So let's jump into it, right? So obviously, as you're saying, you've been in the community for a long time. You work in the community. You're involved in the community, right? So let's talk about it. I mean, we know what's about to happen on Tuesday, right? At this time right now, we're recording on Thursday, March 24th. The vote is going to be less than a week away. No, I'm sorry. Today's not the 24th. Today's the 26th. Excuse me.
26, even shorter
Closer.
amount of time.
Correct.
Make sure you get the voting date right, people.
Correct. Yes, correct. March 31st. And so let's talk about it, right? So somebody who lives in the community, let's talk about that. So, obviously, like I said you've been here for 16 years. Talk to me in the 16 years that you've lived here. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. Right? Yeah, you said 16
That's
years
good math.
Here, right?
Yeah, 16, 20. Yeah, one of the two.
Somewhere around.
Don't
there,
add
right?
them, but it's between one and the other.
So talk to me. So, in your time here and your tenure here as a citizen of Malden, let's talk about it. What have you seen? What are some things that over the course of your time being in this and being involved and living here?
Sure. Well, I and all of us really that live in Malden and live outside of Malden, we've been a part of communities our entire lives. Whether you're from the area, whether you're a transplant, whether or not you move around with the military, at all times we're part of communities. And as part of the Malden community, in the past 20 years, and I was coming down here before my brother and sister both lived in Malden at different times. We kind of followed each other around. Malden has made huge strides. Now, whether or not that's economically, whether or not that's educationally, whether or not that's commercially, Malden is only getting better. I look down Main Street, Pleasant Street, Exchange Street. The roads look good. The people look happy. I am an optimist. I wear rose-colored glasses. Right. I keep my chin up and my eyes on the prize. And Malden is becoming more and more a prize every day. I'm impressed with our elected leaders for the most part. And I know, and having met with them, I am convinced that they care about our city more, or mostly more than I do, or to the same extent. We wouldn't be doing the jobs that we do if we didn't care. And at the end of the day, we do the best we can, and at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day, we're all voting for Malden, man.
I agree.
We're all voting for us to be happy, for us to be prosperous, for us to be able to maintain what we've got, get better things, support our families. That's what's important in any community, and I have seen an upward trajectory over time, and I'm happy to see it.
That's great. If I could ask, where were you coming from before?
I am a Vermonter.
Oh, yeah.
Southern Vermont, if you know where Okemo Mountain is, 20 minutes between Brattleboro and Bells Falls. Go Cosmos. We got the world premiere of the Simpsons movie. No big deal. I'll tell you about that in a later podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you, and not to get too personal, but I am going to. Why
course.
Malden of all places? And I should say, before you answer that question, obviously you gave a very beautiful description of what you've seen, and I would agree with you, right? Obviously, as somebody who served, in various capacities. I was also an elected official at one time or another. I've also helped some people who are in office right now. I'm not going to mention them by name because I don't want to do it in particular order in case any of them get offended.
You might get indicted.
Exactly. But obviously, I grew up here. I'm from this town. I was raised in here, went through all the public schools. But I'm always fascinated why people why people choose Malden when they're not from the Massachusetts area, the Boston area. You're coming from Southern Vermont. So how did you find Malden, and how did you, what drew you to this town?
Sure. Well, it's a great question. I should say that's a great question more often. Interviewers love hearing that. It's a great question.
Oh, great. We can stop the podcast.
Man,
yeah,
that's great time. Pulitzer, please. Hey, no, I've been coming to Malden for years, ever since I was before college. My brother and sister both lived in this area. They lived right on Lincoln Street. I spent one summer in college doing canvassing for the Sierra Club. Lived on Lincoln Street, right by the train station, or the train tracks. Went to bed, woke up to trains going by. It was great. I've always loved trains. It has always made me feel kind of comfortable and relaxed. I love Malden, and coming from a rural community, I love the culture, the cultural and the diversity in this town is incredible. And when you come to downtown and you can walk around, or you could get on the train and you could go into the city, there's a lot of options here, and there's a lot of just to a Vermonter, it's the big city, baby. I mean, it's better than our biggest city.
Yeah. Which I do like Burlington.
Burlington's great.
A lot of good breweries.
A lot of good breweries. A lot of good breweries here in Malden too now.
Shout out to a lot of breweries.
We're getting there. Yeah. We're getting there. No, it's big enough without being overwhelming, and it's close to enough things that I would want to go to without being in it. And being able to hop on public transportation, being able to walk to the grocery store, being able to walk to a restaurant. It's a great opportunity. It's a great city. It's very walkable. It's very close.
I think something that we take for granted, right? I think, again, as I'm telling you, growing up here, and I think that, hearing that, and you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're like, I could walk here. I mean, I did. Last week we had our UMA board meeting.
Right.
I live right off, not too far away from where you live, down Lincoln Street. I live right off Highland Ave.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm being like, I can walk to my board meetings here. I can walk to Hugh O'Neill's. I can walk to Pearl. Oh, I shouldn't even be shouting businesses out, but those are a few.
A lot of businesses.
To our many.
I love it.
Yeah, to our many beautiful businesses we have.
It's great. It's great, and the people here are some of the finest people that I've seen, and business owners, elected officials, employees. Man, there's a lot of positivity here. The positivity has changed a little bit in recent months. A little bit more excitement in Malden than normal. City council meetings are not C-SPAN anymore. They're WWE sometimes.
Yes. Attitude Era too,
it's
I think.
good.
Yeah.
No, it's good. They should have their own fight music theme song, you know. But no, I mean, the attitudes are good. I mean, the people that work and live here, they want to work and live here, and we just got to close. We just got to close the divide, man.
Yes.
We just got to bring people together on what we can agree on and build the community that we want to live and work in.
So let's jump right into it with that. I think that's a good area to kind of jump into, right? So
Sure.
I guess, can I ask, are you for the upcoming override or are you against it?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I am
Not
absolutely.
to put you on the spot.
There you go.
But I
There you
did,
go.
right?
You
Of course,
did. Yeah, well done. That was a layup. Yes, I am absolutely for the Prop 2.5 override. I have voted by mail already.
Okay.
I will make sure that my vote was received.
Okay.
This is very important to me. It's very important to my colleagues. It's very important to the workers that I know, and it's a contentious issue for my neighbors, and I understand that, and I reach out to the people. I was on a door knocking campaign, and every person that I met was wonderful.
Yeah.
And we live in a community, in a state, in a country where we are allowed to disagree.
Yes.
And we are allowed to have opinions that I may not agree with or I may vehemently disagree with. And people that will agree with me and will do whatever they can.
Right.
That has buoyed my spirits. I have a short memory. I forget the bad. I remember the good. I've got a good feeling. And the future's looking bright, baby.
Which is beautiful. I like hearing that. No, I'm serious. I really do like hearing it. So let me ask you, right? So following more into you.
Sure.
So we're not going to talk to Dave Ball, the firefighter. We're going to talk to Dave Ball, the resident of Malden.
Sounds good.
Why is this important to you? I know.
Sure.
I should say, let's dig more into why is this important to you? What are some of the reasons that you are in favor of this override? I think is probably the better way to ask this.
Yeah, that's a great question. Listen, I've been to a lot of
all the questions are great.
They're all great.
It's me talking to
like you've known me all my whole life. My goodness. Listen, I've been to a lot of Q&As. I've talked to a lot of city councilors. And I think there's a difference between what is tangible and what is quantifiable.
Yeah.
The Q&A portions in the city of Malden, if you haven't been, it's too late. We had our last one. It is very keen on what is quantifiable. What can we measure? How many millions of dollars are we behind? How many millions of dollars do we need? What do we need to raise? Why don't we have the money that we thought we would have? Where's the money gone? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not a CPA and I'm not a forensic accountant, and I can't speak to that. I'm also not a policymaker. What I can speak to instead of what is quantifiable is what for me is tangible. And I think when a person speaks on what is tangible, what they can feel, what they can see, what they can sense, a lot of times will be much more impactful than what is quantifiable. You get into millions of dollars, more money that I'll ever see outside of a presentation, outside of a,
outside of like robbing a casino,
outside of robbing a casino,
or when you wake up in the morning. Because
Right.
I always wake up in the morning and I'm like, what? I'm back here again. Like,
Exactly.
And in my dreams I had like this
Exactly.
36 floor.
All these millions of dollars.
Yeah, just I was lighting my cigars with like $100 bills.
Exactly,
It's not the reality.
exactly. No, and so you see a budget in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, so that's kind of what we're talking about. We work off of that. That is for me and a lot of money, and it's not really easy to parse, to detail, to put into human form, which is what I at last accounting is. So I am much more interested in what is tangible, what I can see, what the sidewalks look like when I take my dog for a walk. what the police presence is, what the response time of firefighters are. When I go to the library, what are the librarians facing? I talk to many people at the library, with the police force, with the fire department. I hear their experiences. I hear about the calls that they go on. And that, for me, is tangible.
And let me ask you,
Sure.
With those conversations, what are they? I should ask if we're going to stick on the tangibles, right? And
Sure.
which I think is a really good way to put this, because, and to go back to your earlier point about the budgets and the Q&As, and I think we've seen a lot, right? Obviously, I had said that very early on in this podcast that there have been many different forums, and so I think that people have heard. I think we've almost to this point now have exhausted everything you could hear, right? So I want to follow more into what you, as the person. What do those conversations sound like? What has been the overall feeling? Are there any common themes that you can pick up on from any, firefighters you've had conversations with, the police, overall residents? I mean, whatever you want to talk to.
Sure. Morale with the police, fire, and librarians is not the highest it's ever been. It's going to be a shock. People are concerned, especially with the 15 firefighters that are newly hired, especially with the 15 police officers that are newly hired, and the 5 librarians. I don't have a lot of experience with DPW. Mm-hmm. Across the board, the employees that I have worked with are doing more than what is asked for them mm-hmm. on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. You go to the library, you talk to a librarian that just broke up a street fight, or they just busted a drug deal in the bathroom. These, or just got threatened, their life threatened, or just called a racial slur, or a homophobic slur. These cases, Malden relies on the people that maintain it. Malden is built and maintained by different people. Without being built, you don't have a city. Without being maintained, you don't have a community. And the people that maintain this community they love the job. It's a fantastic city. They are being asked to do more with less, whether that's less people, whether that's less money, whether that's less resources, whether that's less respect. That is what is happening. That is what I'm seeing. And in many, many cases, our elected representatives have our back in the majority of cases from what I have seen. There are a few outliers. You know who you are. But we're doing okay. I mean, we're doing the best we can. And basically, it's crunch time, You support firefighters, you support police officers, you have bumper stickers with red and blue stripes. Librarians are fantastic. This is where the rubber meets the road, people. This is it. This is where the support leads to. This is the pinnacle of the support mountain.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right. I mean, I think if I can understand what you say, I think this is, if you love your community, right, this is where the rubber has to meet the road, right? And I think, let me ask you another question in this way then. I mean, I'm assuming you may have social media, right? Do you have Facebook at all?
Excellent question. I got off social media. I've never been happier. I have been on YouTube. I have spiraled down the YouTube rabbit hole. For Facebook, I don't have Facebook. People send me Instagram videos. Yeah. I have difficulty watching them because I don't have an Instagram account. It is what it is. The people that are looking at social media on this particular political event, they walk away in a mood. Yeah. Sometimes it's depression, sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's motivation. Social media is what it is. We live in a society where social media is where many people get their news. That is a way to affect public opinion. I think for the majority of people, it's old man yelling at a cloud. It's a Simpsons reference. Look it up.
I know what it is.
And I'm feeling good. The people that scream forget when to vote, and the people that communicate and go to Q&As and have civilized conversations and hold signs and have people honk their horns at them. Yeah. Those are the people that vote. Those are the people that show up, and those are the people that embrace the maintainers of Malden, without which building cannot occur.
Well, so let me ask you, right? So with that being said, right? So let's take the social media aspect out of all of it, right? Because I actually do think that at times, I feel that, and this is just my own opinion, that social media can almost be like an echo chamber in a sense, right? So it's so
Absolutely.
easy to say, oh, Dave posted something that I didn't agree with, so you know what? I'm just going to unfriend him. And
Sure.
I know I've been unfriended many times.
Oh,
I always
my
wonder,
God.
and I always
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Well, I always wonder. I'm like, I wonder what was the final straw, right?
Sure.
So,
Sure. I
but
get you.
going to the human element of it, right, and talking with people face to face. Have you ever encountered somebody when talking with them that had an opposing view or a misleading view? Actually, I should say, I'll ask it two different ways.
Sure.
One would be an opposing view. Another one would be something misleading.
Sure.
And through your conversations, have you ever noticed that person says, "Oh, actually, I thought about it this way, but now after talking with you,
Sure.
I'm actually kind of now reconsidering my initial position."
Sure. Seems like it would be pretty rare, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right. But it probably happens a lot more, right?
Yeah. You ever had an opinion and somebody changed their mind because they made a powerful argument?
Of course.
It's happened to me.
Yeah,
Ask me how it feels.
It's
It's humbling. It really is humbling.
It is.
And I can only speak to the missteps that I have made. Just the other day, I made a conversation about why isn't City Hall open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? As a small town Vermonter, our city hall was open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It's what people expect. Right. And the person that I was having the conversation made a powerful argument. The people that cannot show up Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, are the people that need the services the most. And when you give universal hours that are historically the way they've always been, you will have the same results that you historically have always had. And whether or not those are good results or bad results, you're going to get the same results. And it's not going to empower that Uber driver that works nights, that person that takes care of their child at home and can't get to City Hall to pay a bill or to recertify or re-register for something, and they made a powerful argument, and I thought about it, and I hope to who you are. I hope you know that I'm talking about our conversation, and that I hope you're listening.
I'm sure they will.
Obviously,
yeah, I'm sure.
You made a powerful argument, and you made me look at things a little bit differently. Now, to your general question, have I ever showed up? Have I ever talked to someone where they've said, "You've changed my mind a little bit"? In a couple cases, that's happened. When I was going door to door, talking up the 2.5 override, there was a person who was unimpressed, unsatisfied, unhappy with their elected leader who works in City Hall. Might live there too, I don't know. And they said that this individual should find the money somehow and should not fire librarians, cops, and firefighters. To which I said, I appreciate the sentiment. These are the cards that were dealt. Money isn't going to fall from the sky. I've never seen a cloud like that.
I wish I did.
Right? I would live under it. I wouldn't carry an umbrella. But I said, these are the hands that were dealt. I gave an explanation of what having 15 fewer firefighters, 1 fewer engine. We've been reducing our staff over time anyways. I explained the situation, and she said, "I don't want you guys to lose their jobs. I have an opinion. I'm not going to show up to vote. It's not going to be in favor of you." And that was, in a way, that person saying, "I got you." I'm not, if you hang, I'm not gonna tie the rope around your neck. Right. I'm gonna keep my opinions on the 31st. Everybody show up. Yeah. Practice your democratic rights. Right. But that was their way of saying, I'm unhappy. I'm not going to leave in the middle of a haircut because the barber raises the price of the haircut. No, I'm going to complain to management.
Right.
I'm not going to walk out in the middle of a haircut. There are times I should have walked out in the middle of a haircut because it was going bad. I have an oddly shaped head. But no, I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, at the end of the day, when people look in the face of the consequences, the negative consequences that they will make, a lot of them will think on the humanistic aspect and say, the guy who came to the door was very polite, very professional, and made their case, which is huge. And when you put a human face to something and a smile, a lot of people aren't going to give you an expletive.
Well, they're humanizing it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
much, right?
I mean, you look into the eyes of a human or look into the screen of a PowerPoint you can't really see from the back row. Right. It's a different aspect. Right. And, I'm not coming to you with $100 million in a solution. I'm coming to you with my identity as a maintainer so that you can build.
So let me ask you, following up with that conversation,
Sure.
right? And I've done door knocking, right?
Sure.
I mean, I know sometimes, how should I say this? I know door knocking for most people can be very scary, right?
Sure.
I remember my very first time, and I tell this story all the time. And so for anybody who's listening, this is probably now the fourth time you've heard this, but I'm going to tell this anyways because this is your first time here.
It's fantastic. I can't wait.
So
Let me stretch first.
Yeah, right. So I remember my very first time, and I was going door to door in my neighborhood, and it was a hot summer day. And I remember
Always is, baby.
Right? I'm going, and I'm like sweating. I knock on this guy's door, and the guy comes out in his underwear.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what?
Sure.
One of two things is going to happen.
Sure.
I'm not going to get scared away. Either
Good for you.
he's going to tell me, yes, I'm voting for you, or
Yeah.
get the F off my porch.
Exactly.
We had a long conversation.
Yeah.
He ended up voting for me, which was nice, right?
There you go.
But sometimes
Caught him with his pants down.
pretty much something I'll never ever burn out of. I can never get it out of my
Sure.
memory.
Sure.
So that's why anytime somebody comes and knocks on my door, I
You
always
put
make
pants
sure
on.
Exactly. Maybe no
Good
shirt,
man.
but there's a pants on.
Good man. All
or a pair
right.
of
All
shorts.
right.
So, but let me ask you, right? I'll joking aside, when you hear people give you that kind of feedback, right? That's basically saying, look, I'm gonna stay home, and I know that in some way that is kind of a W, but in another way too, do you walk away from that, or did you walk away from that experience and say, okay, fine, I take that as it's better that person stays home than come out. However, I would have rather have that person had said, you know what, I would have rather, would you have, I guess my easiest way to ask this is, would you have rather have walked away with their vote or them supporting this versus just saying, you know what, I'm just going to stay home?
It's a great question. I'm surprised I didn't write it myself. Well done, sir. Listen, I'm not a political animal. If I was a political animal, I would look at that as a win.
Yeah. But I mean, for a human, right? As in the human aspect, right?
As a public servant whose job it is to have people rely on us to do the right thing, who is backed up by a city council that relies on us to do the right thing, presided over by a mayor who is relying on us to do the right thing. That is an instance where somewhere along the line, we're not doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. We're not presenting ourselves well. We're not modeling ourselves well. We're not reaching for those higher ideals. We're not explaining ourselves in a universally appealing way. All of those things are human frailties, none that I have ever experienced, of course, because I'm infallible. But yes, no, and as a political animal, not voting in a close election is as close to a win as you'll ever get. Right. As a public servant working in public safety who is relying on the support of their community, that's a loss. Right. That's not a win at all. Right. I mean, that we mostly wins, mm-hmm. and mostly wins in my career. Mm-hmm. And every day I'm doing the best I possibly can, and every day I'm relying on the people that I work with to do the best they can, and they haven't let me down yet, baby.
That's good.
And police, fire, librarians, library staff, yep. Police staff, fire staff, we're all doing the best we can. We're all pushing this big rock uphill, and we're doing it at a great expense to ourselves, to our health in many cases, and to our general happiness, because we want to make where we are better than when we came into work that day. I live here. Not everybody lives here, but we all come here for the community. People ask, a common refrain is that a lot of the people that are pro for the 2.5 override are employees that don't work or live in Malden. Fine. They got in their car and they got on the highway and they came to work. Every minute you're in your car and away from your family is dangerous and expensive. Okay, they're coming here. They're putting their lives on the line in many cases, and they're leaving to go to a not as good town. What are you going to do? And but they're doing the work. It doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where the money is coming from. What matters is that the money goes to the people that care. I care. My fellow employees care. Are there a few bad apples in the bunch? Somewhere, maybe. I don't know.
But that's every place.
I don't look for bad apples. I'm an apple guy. I like good apples.
I like Granny Smith.
I like him, right? Yeah. I like Macintosh. Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I look for good apples. I enjoy being around good apples. If there's bad apples, I don't eat them.
But the other thing, and even to kind of not to cut you off, but
sure,
that person that you're describing, right? Sure. That they're getting in their car, they're leaving if they don't live in Malden. But I think something that we're seeing now too is not just Malden.
Sure.
Right. It's everywhere. It's a lot of communities are going through this. It's not just, and I understand. I know that the rhetoric is there are some affluent communities that can afford it, which is true. I know that.
Sure.
However, though, it's everywhere, right? Yeah. It's not just a Malden thing. It's not just a Greater Boston thing. It's everywhere. So I just wanted to chime in by saying that you're right though, that that person may not live here, and the rhetoric is they may not live in this town, but you don't know what that town's going. Wherever their domicile or they had.
If it's not them yet, it might be soon.
Correct. Correct.
Let's use this as a leg up instead of a stumble.
Right.
And excellent questions. I had some talking points of my own prepared, and I kind of want to get on those for a moment, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for you.
I showed up to this soiree, whatever it is. I didn't want to talk about politics. I didn't want to talk about finances. I didn't want to talk about politics. I didn't want to talk about what I do for a living. Yeah. Well, Dave, what else are you going to talk about? Well, growing up in Vermont, eating Ben and Jerry's, you're close.
Which is good.
You're close. It's great ice cream. It's great ice cream. Listen, and to talk about the tangibility, I have lived in communities my entire life, in the military as a kid, as an adult. As a kid military, as an adult military, I have lived in communities, and I've looked at sort of a universal philosophy of what makes a good community. In my experience, it's limited. It's 44 years. 1982 is a great year for the world. And
I would think 1986.
1986. Okay. Well, you're partial. Hey, and I've come down and I Googled it first. I Googled an acronym to sort of put my presentation so it doesn't lurch around and drag on. I couldn't find an acronym, so I made an acronym, and it's easy to remember because it's SHE. She. And SHE represents to me, as part of a good community, a community that's safe, a community that's healthy, and a community that's equitable. Now, safe and healthy kind of go hand in hand, especially in the community of Malden. Mm-hmm. And equitability is a thing that's very important, and it really, really grows and drives forward a community. And I just, if I may, want to speak on those a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's talk about how safety might be affected by the cuts if the Prop 2.5 override doesn't go through.
Well, it's funny. That was going to be my next question.
It was?
Yeah. You jumped ahead of me because I was going to say.
How safety would be affected?
No,
my God,
not
did
even,
you read my paper?
No, not even. No, my question actually was going to be, my last point on the door knocking was going to
Sure.
be how was the overall, feedback.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was going to ask,
Yeah.
all right, so let's
Well, I'll answer that question
Yep.
in good time, good sir.
so
Okay.
we'll turn to if it doesn't
Yeah,
pass.
right. So how is safety going to be affected?
Right.
Well, for one, as a Malden firefighter, I will speak briefly at times about my service. We're going to lose 15. They're estimating 15 firefighters. They're estimating 1 fire engine. So what's that going to mean? And understand that we don't get fire calls 1 at a time in Malden. We'll get calls 3 at a time. We'll get calls 2 at a time. We'll go calls 1 at a time, which is how it goes. And we have the resources, and we've quantified what resources go where, and we send the resources that is required to where it is needed. So what's that going to mean? If we lose 15 firefighters and 15 firefighters and a fire engine, how's that going to affect us? Well, there's going to be a longer response time for both police and fire. What a lot of people don't understand is, A, firefighters go to medical calls. We go there with EMS, we go there with the police department, and we go there with 3 first responders. Many of us are EMTs. So if we are down 1 engine and you live in a district that is served by the engine that was cut, your response time from a firefighter, from a fire service perspective, is going to be made longer. So in a lot of cases, this can make a big difference. If someone is having a heart attack, or if a kid is bleeding out, and it takes 5 extra minutes for a medically trained person to get there, and that includes the police. There's police officers that do CPR, and they're fantastic. So the longer that takes, the worse the outcomes. You can look up the science. You can look up figures and statistics. That's the way it is. A lot of these calls are going to rely on who gets there, how quick they get there. So fires, for the fire department specifically, fires and motor vehicle accidents especially rely on fast response times. If we can't get there as quickly as we can, and this is also based on, we might have a fire, but we also might have 2 medical calls that tie up our resources. If we can't get there within a certain amount of time, that fire goes from 0 to 100 real quick, and that puts people's lives in danger. That puts people's property in danger. MVAs, people that are in motor vehicle accidents that don't get extricated in time. It gets worse.
Can I ask
Everything gets worse, of course.
And I know you, and I'm going to plead ignorance because I know the answer, but in case anybody who's listening, right?
Sure.
So when you say about we have to take a fire, we have to take an engine out if this doesn't go through.
I'm not saying that. They're saying that.
if it were to happen, right? So how many people?
Sure.
How many people to an engine then, right? So if we were to talk about tangibles, right, to follow into that,
Yeah.
what are we looking at here for fire? If an engine gets taken out,
Sure.
what are we looking at for
Sure.
loss?
So we have, the 15 and an engine sort of go hand in hand.
Okay.
We have 4 groups. There's 3 people per engine, 1 officer, 2 firefighters. So, and there's 4 groups. So in the course of a year, 4 groups work 24 hours a day in their part of the year that they work, if that makes sense. So so the reason that an engine is going to be taken out of service is specifically because of the 15 firefighters that will be laid off.
Well, in case somebody's like, oh, it's just a truck that's gone, but
Sure.
So it's just
It's
like
not
to
the
put
truck,
that-
it's the
right.
people on it.
Correct,
It's the hands,
correct,
it's
correct,
the feet,
correct,
it's the shoulders.
Correct. So sorry. So not to cut too much into.
No, it's
your,
fine. No, it's a good interruption. I'll allow it this time. It's good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, you're being very gracious. So the other thing that we will find is crime prevention and public safety rely on timely response and presence. There have been times where I have gone as a firefighter to a medical call where it was not safe for me to enter, either because of a emotionally disturbed person or somebody who is inebriated or somebody who is unsafe to be around, where we need police officers. Now, there's 2 sides of that coin. A lot of us will take the risk and will affect a save or affect medical care in a situation that is unsafe. Fires aren't aren't safe. We're not going to call the police to make fires safe. Right. But there have been times where we have had to wait for a police presence to be as safe as we could, and we've disregarded the risks because waiting for a police officer would have taken too long, and we had to do what we had to do, and we faced the risk that we had to face. That's just a day in the life. That's what we do. And then library staff, from my experience, I mean, how does safety and libraries go together? It really does. Libraries provide a place, and people can complain about libraries and what they were designed for and what they've become. Libraries have become a safe place for the people at the edges of our community, the marginalized people, the people without a place to stay during the day, people who need resources, don't have the money to pay for them. The libraries and the staff at the libraries are huge in being the place, being the spot for people to go, for people to look for jobs, for people who need to look up critical health information, for people who need to look up Malden resources. That's the place. And the staff and the librarians at the library are huge. They know what they're doing. If they don't know the answer, they'll find the answer. And in my experience, they are some of the most knowledgeable people in this town. I mean, I can be overconfident and give you an answer that is broad enough to not be helpful, but a librarian and a library staff person will be able to say, here's the answer, here's where to find it, because that's what the library is all about. And to keep the library open, to keep the library in good shape, to maintain what we've got so that we can build upon it. We need to think about these things that our increased taxes would pay for. It's not going up into thin air. Right. It's not disappearing. Right. Oh, what extra are we going to get with these increased taxes? Well, the maintainers got to get paid. The maintenance has to be done. The staff have to need to be there to maintain it. If we could do it for free, a lot of us would. Right. I don't say that as a union guy, obviously, but no, we've got expenses, and my job especially relies on as many people and as many resources as possible. Right. And losing 15 people and a fire engine and having to call in or having to call Medford for additional resources at the crisis time. It's not. It makes the difference between life and death in many cases.
So let me ask.
Sure.
If this happens, right? I think to kind of drive home more of your point, if this happens, what can we as residents see? Property taxes go up? Do our safety rates go? I mean, what happens at that
Next
point?
question, man. I'm not a policy guy.
Right.
I'm not a technocrat. I wish I was. I don't have the skill set, man.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
No. There's ideas.
Yeah.
There's opinions on what might happen, but I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah. Which we all did, right?
It's not going to be. It's not going to be good. We're not going to continue doing more with less. At a certain point, there's a breaking point where you need what you got. And we have reached that point where we need more police, more firefighters, more librarians. But for now, a vote for yes is a vote to keep what we've got. Vote for the maintainers so we can build. What's H and she? Great question. Hey, so it's health. So how is police and fire and librarians, how do they really lead into health? Seems like safety and health are the same thing. No, you're not entirely wrong.
Yeah, but they are two separate items.
They are two separate things. Yeah. So police and fire, as I said before, work together with EMS, Cataldo usually, for medical calls. So as I said before, if the scene isn't safe and we need a police officer and we have 15 less police officers and they're 10 minutes away, it's going to affect how great a service we provide, because we have to be looking out for ourselves at the same time. CPR, traumatic injuries and violent cases, they all affect everybody's health. I was at a call where a kid accidentally cut his leg and he was bleeding all over the place, and he was freaked out, and we got there before EMS, and it could have been pretty bad. And then Engine 2, best Engine 2 in Malden, we went to the call. We put gloves on, we brought in our medical bags, we put pressure on the wound, I raised it over my shoulder, put it on the shoulder to stop the bleeding, and we affected what could have been a pretty bad situation. The kids knew to call 911. It's happened with overdoses, it's happened with children cutting themselves by accident, it's happened with adults hurting themselves, where showing up and knowing what to do, there could be people out there that are like, I could do this job. It's not that hard. Yeah, okay, it's not that hard. There's a reason not everybody takes it. There's a reason not everybody can do it. And there's a reason that people go other places. It's not the highest paid job in the world. There are jobs that will pay you more, and there are people out there that will take those jobs, that will complain about firefighters. What do they even do? We do a surprisingly amount of work. Yeah, for sure. And again, library staff for health provide resources for a healthy and safe life. And they do it for free. People walk in, and just the other day, somebody didn't have their driver's license and was trying to apply for public benefits. Well, it's really hard to apply for public benefits if you don't have a driver's license. So they were able to talk to a few librarians about what they could do. And the librarians, bless them, were able to say, here's what we can do. And you know what? I will help you get the resources that you need. And if it means that I will come in on a day that I don't work to take care of you, I will do that. There's a lot of selfless people out there. Firefighters, police, librarians, DPW, a lot of city employees.
I was going to say public servants.
Public servants, yeah. And that's just who we are, and that's just what we do, because we rally together for Malden 365 days a year. So the library is very helpful with that. And the last one,
I was going to say, let me ask you what the last one was.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. That was a layup, baby.
Say, that was a great question by you.
So for equitability, the E in she. So how is she going to be affected? I didn't even think about that. That's a good ring, political ring. I don't like negative things happening with she, but so equitability. So how is equitability? How is it important to a community? Great question.
Thank you. It's like I wrote it myself.
So police and fire. The idea is, and opinions may vary, that police and fire job is to serve the community. Full stop. We do it regardless of anything. We do it regardless of whether or not you vote for this or not. We do this whether or not you're going to yell at us at a Q&A session about how whatever occurs to you is not the way it actually is.
Does that happen?
It's wild, man. It's turning into the WWE. And we're going to do it. Right. We're not going to turn our backs. When people turn their backs to people in Malden, the workers for the departments run to help. And that's why I love this job, because not everybody can do it. Not everybody wants to do it. A lot of people wouldn't take it for any amount of money. And I do it, and we do it, and I'm proud to do it. And most of the people I know are super proud to do it. And in addition to providing services for fire and police, life safety services that maybe not everybody would even ever need in their life. You might never call a firefighter, you might never call a cop, and you may never go to your local library, but you know somebody who has. Mm-hmm. You know somebody who needed to get onto an ambulance. You know somebody that did have a stroke. You know somebody that who's had a fire in their house, with a gas leak in their house that could have become somebody different. And you probably know somebody whose kid crosses the street to the library to study after school and to ask questions from knowledgeable people who know what they're talking about. And just because you don't know, you aren't that person, doesn't mean you don't live with that person. You're not related to that person. You're not a neighbor with that person. There are people out there that, and they're not hiding it. We're not hiding that we provide the service. There are people that using those services and that appreciate it. But it's one of those things where if you don't utilize it, you don't understand its value and its worth. I've never had caviar. I don't know why caviar is so expensive, but maybe if I had caviar, I would say, my goodness,
Hey, this
is the best caviar I've ever had. And libraries at the same time, as far as equitability, it's always been based on the premise, whether or not historically accurate, that libraries provide resources to all for free. Mm-hmm. You show up, you're a resident, you get a library card, and that's what it is. In closing with my part of the presentation, and any follow-up questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer.
Sure.
So there's a famous quote by a guy, Malcolm X.
Okay.
And it's good. It's good. And it's poignant for me because I looked up famous quotes about community, and it showed up about halfway down. It was number 22 on the list of quotes, on the listicle, if you will. And the quote is good. And it's, when I is replaced with we, even the illness becomes wellness. What do you think of that?
I think that's powerful.
It really is.
It
is. And it's powerful for a lot of ways. Because what builds a community is the members. Mm-hmm. A community can have a leader, and a community can have a spokesperson. And that community can elect these spokespeople to talk with other spokespeople, and they could do it on a board, and then, or a council, if you will. And those people, when they've done that for a while, could be the leader of the main over-encompassing community. Mm-hmm. But what it all comes down to is the we factor, the beating hearts. The people that get up every day and do their job, and get up every day and support their families, and get up every day and do the hard work that it means to run and maintain where they live. Mm-hmm. When they come together with like-minded people and reach for employees to maintain what they have so that they can build on that. Mm-hmm. That is huge. And you know a bad community when you see one.
I bet.
And when you're in a good community, you forget. Forget about it.
Well, it's funny. You say that, right?
Sure.
And I think as growing up here, and you obviously pretty much have grown up here. I mean, I think anybody that lives in the place more than a year, you've seen it. Sure. This is a good community.
Yeah.
Right? This is a great
absolutely.
community. I don't think there's another community. I mean, I've lived here, so I'm pretty biased.
You're biased.
There's no other community like this.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's Maldonians. I mean, it's hard to spell, but, we're a community of people that are pushing the ball uphill.
Correct.
And, come voting time, I hope everybody goes in there with open eyes, open hearts, positive attitudes. And we'll do the right thing. I'm pulling for us.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
We'll end with two, because that was a pretty powerful presentation that you had. So I'll end with two follow-up questions.
Thank you, sir.
It was. I'm not even...
Sure.
I'm being serious with you.
Well, you're wearing a suit. You're wearing a suit and tie. I'm just wearing a t-shirt.
I just came out of work.
That's high praise.
I just came out of work. Oh, believe me, if I didn't wear a suit and tie, I get spoken to a lot.
Okay, very good, very good.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
Two questions, and we're going to stay on the topic of, because I think we pretty much talked about the reasons why, but I want to talk about what it may look like.
Sure.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
First one. I know you didn't want to go into the fight. I know you didn't want to go too much into your career, but
Sure.
I do want to ask you one question about your career.
Of course, yeah.
What's one misconception that you've heard through this whole process about what's been going on and how the fire department or anything, or no, excuse me, what's one misconception that you have heard through your travels
Sure.
about your job, how it's going to be impacted, or
Sure.
as you said, public, and I think public servants is probably the best way
Sure.
to encapsulate everybody, police, librarians,
Sure.
DPW, your
Yeah.
department, everywhere.
So I think a big misconception, and it's either through ignorance or it's through rhetoric or it's whatever it is that the resources that we have, we don't necessarily need. What I say by that is when somebody calls 911 and they say, my house is on fire, I need you guys to come and help. There is a huge difference between sending one engine and one ladder company to a house fire as opposed to 3 engines and 1 ladder. It's technical. I don't want to get into it, but a lot of it is the more people you have at a fire doing a job, the better the outcome will be. The better outcome it will be to keep us safe. The better outcome it will be to keep you safe. The better outcome it will be to keep the fire from spreading. The better outcome it will be from not having your house burned down. These are the things that make a difference, and people look at money and they quantify money to resources and they think, how many people does it really take to put out a house fire? A lot. It takes a lot of people, and sometimes we have to go to Lynn and have them send people because we have 2 fire engines going to 2 different medical calls. You know, somebody's having a heart attack, somebody's having a stroke, and we can't leave to go to the fire until we're relieved by the ambulance company. So we have to stay there. We can't go to the fire. We have to wait a little while. So all the resources that we need, that we have, some would argue we don't have enough. I would argue we don't have enough. They are what we are. If we have less, the effects are huge. It makes a medical call where somebody could have lived, where they die. It goes from a case where the house fire could have been put out in 10 minutes, where the house is gone and a firefighter is injured or killed. These are the things. And when I go to Q&As, I had a conversation with someone the other day, and he said, I just moved to Malden. The taxes are high, and you're asking to raise taxes, and I'm probably going to be a no. And I said, listen, I appreciate what you said. Reasonable people can disagree. My job is very dangerous. With fewer firefighters, it will become more dangerous, but I appreciate you coming to the Q&A because there's really nothing else to say. If you have an opinion and you're going to vote, your opinion probably isn't going to change in the next hour and a half before the voting period. I appreciate everybody having a difference of opinion in Malden. I appreciate everybody speaking on it and learning about it and trying their best to be the best version of themselves that they can be. And I'll disagree with many people and I'll agree with many people. And that is part of being a Malden firefighter, part of being a Malden city employee.
Okay. Yep.
I know the risk.
Understand. And you know what?
Sure.
And you obviously can hear it in your voice that you actually enjoy it, even though you know, right?
I love it.
I mean, the thing is,
it's the best job in the best city in the world.
If you didn't like it, right? I think that's for all public servants, right? I think that everybody. I work.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say where I work now.
Sure.
because,
Yeah.
But
it's all right.
you enjoy it, right? It's what gets you get up.
I love it.
So let me ask you, last question.
Sure. Yeah.
And you can answer this as Dave Ball, the firefighter, Dave Ball, the union rep, or Dave Ball, the Malden resident.
Not a union rep, just a union member.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I thought I heard you say that. I was like, oh, okay.
I wouldn't want to be part of any organization that was hire me as a representative. No, I'm happy. I'm happy to be a member.
So let me ask you, as a firefighter or as the Malden resident.
Sure.
And I know you've touched upon this, so
yeah,
forgive me, but this would be probably a chance to reiterate your points.
No, it's fine. Yeah, bullet points, sure.
What's one thing or what's a few things that you want voters to understand before Tuesday the 31st?
Well, I came here
I didn't
prepared.
get a great question on that one? Come on.
I know. I didn't write it on the list of questions. This is a hard-hitting interview.
I'm kidding, not to derail.
Well, I came here to speak as a community member because we've heard it. We've heard it from the union rep Kenny, or the union president Kenny. We've heard it from the city department leaders, and we've heard it from the politicians. So I'm going to tell you, as a citizen of Malden, and as a community member in Malden. Everything in this world requires maintenance, and maintenance is always going to go up. Your quality of life as a member of a community, to keep it as good as it is or to make it better, is going to take time, effort, and money. So if you want things to be open later, if you want the library to be open Saturday and Sunday, that costs money. That's an increase. If you want things to be as good as they are, things go up. Inflation goes up and costs go up. And we are being asked at this point in our lives in Malden to pay more for what we have now. It's not like a $100 pair of shoes is going to be, different than a pair of $50 shoes. I've been wearing $50 shoes for most of my adult life. Filene's Basement, it was less than that.
Come on, don't bring it. I missed that place.
Man, it was a ride in progress
memories.
every day, man. So if you want the services that you've got, you're going to have to pay more, and if you want better services, you're going to pay more. So asking the members, the citizens of Malden, to pay more for services that they enjoy, for services that they utilize, or for even maintaining where they're at. It costs money, and I don't beg anybody for anything. I like to use the word rely. I am relying on this community, our community, my community, your community, the community, to step up. This is our time to say we're a community, and our community is worth fighting and paying for.
I agree.
Thank you.
David, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to talk about, or any points that I may have missed that you want to bring up?
No, I really appreciate the time, and
likewise too. Thank you for being.
Of
to
course.
be honest with you, what's so funny?
What's that?
That I've been so used to doing this with other people that it's so easy at times to have other people talk.
Sure.
And obviously this is my first time meeting you, and
Yeah.
I'm just glad that you were just that person that can just take the interview and run.
Yeah,
Because sometimes you sit here, you're like, oh my God, you're like,
poke them with a stick.
yeah. So
No,
I
I get
appreciate you for being so
No,
passionate
and you were
taking your
vibing really
time.
well, and at times you jumped in the pool as a lifeguard, and I appreciate that. I might have drowned a couple times.
No, you did
but,
great. You kidding me? You did awesome.
My head floats. I got a big head for those of you who can't see it at all.
Listen, it can't be any bigger than mine.
I'll take that bet.
But
At least you can wear hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 7
Must
and
be
5/8.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I was born that size, buddy. Hey, great time.
David,
Appreciate
thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. Anytime that you want to come back, we'd love to have you on.
Can do.
Love to, and honestly, I mean, I should, how do I say this? Always send out the invite, but honestly, David, you were great.
Awesome.
All your other colleagues were great too. Anybody
Great.
that wants to come on, obviously something that I was saying earlier at the very beginning of this is that as UMA, we're trying to do our part to keep everybody informed and educated.
Doing a great job.
And I think that this
Very
would be something
impressed.
that we should. So
Hey, special thanks out there. Kenny Gill, Kate
great.
the librarian.
Yep, she was great.
I don't remember Kate's last name. Forgive me.
Quinn,
Could be.
I believe.
A lot of good people.
Yeah.
A lot of good
There was a lot of good people
representation. City councilors, majority of them. You're doing a great job. The mayor, you're my boss. Good hiring choice. And hey, we're in the home stretch. The balls, we're pushing the boulder uphill.
Yeah.
It's looking good from this altitude.
Well, I hope when we come back together again, I hope that we'll have some good news.
Thanks, man.
All right, David, thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
And I will talk to everybody later. See you guys.
All right, take care.